Andy McCauley joining us. Coach, appreciate the time. I know you're just a couple of hours away from first pitch, so we do appreciate you taking a few minutes out of kind of game planning or whatever the plan is. Do you have a little downtime before the game? I know you just wrapped up batting practice. What do you do between now and first pitch?
Yeah, sorry, thanks for having me on, guys. Really appreciate it.
Sure.
But yeah, we are just wrapping up batting practice as we speak right now. Then usually, we go over reports and players that we know. This is the first time we've played Gateway this year, but there's a number of players on their roster from last year, so we get a little pitching report between me and my pitching coach, Max Peterson, does a great job relaying that information to the starters and to the relievers and what we're looking at as far as matchups go as the game goes on, just so we're all on the same page. And then we'll look at their pitchers a little bit, who's facing us, who they have in their pen, just get some information to the guys that'll be facing guys for the first time. So just some quick meetings and then get right into the game. And all those meetings go right out the window as soon as that first pitch goes. But at least we have a plan in place if it should go according to that. But no, thanks for having me on, guys.
Sure, no, it's our pleasure. It's our pleasure. I know we're working on trying to make this a weekly thing with you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And
absolutely.
We certainly look forward to it. You guys just 15 games into the season. It's still very early on. It's a long season, as baseball is known for. Frontier League maybe a little bit shorter, obviously, than the Major League Baseball season, but still a long season nonetheless. Just 15 games in. So far in these 15 games, what have you seen out of your team that you've liked?
Well, we have a lot of returners back from last year's team, and they haven't picked up right where they left off, but they're heading in that direction. I didn't expect to hit the ground running with a lot of these guys. A lot of them from the Northeast. It's real with the winter we had up there with guys like Sweeney and Halk and Schultz living in the Northeast. We really didn't get much chance to get outside. So got a lot of work in spring training, and with some of the newcomers, I guess from Nieves and J.D. Dorgan, chipping in on that side of the ball, really gotten us off, to where we wanted to be, at least to start the season off. But like you said, we got a long way to go. We got 81 more games to play, so it's still very early in this season. But definitely we are where we want to be. But we do know we have a long way to go. Well,
you had a little bit of a road stretch already here early in the season. Performed pretty well though. You did drop a doubleheader to close out your road trip, but 7-3 in the last 10 games. Moves you to 10-5. You're just a half game back from Southern Illinois. But, when you're on the road that long, especially early in this season, you do have a lot of returning guys, but you have new guys as well. Now, you correct me if I'm wrong, but nothing bonds guys like a road trip. Am I right?
It's true, good or bad. Nothing tears it down as bad either when you have a bad road trip. But no, it certainly does. I mean, we're away from the home distractions and everything going on at home. We're on the road. We're kind of locked into our hotel with no one else to even socialize with. So you really do. You get to know your roommate, you get to know your teammates very well on the road trips. And it started off on the right foot. We were 2-1 in Lake Erie, heading to Windy City. We won the first one in Windy City, so off to a 3-1 road trip. We got rained out that Saturday night in Chicago, and then followed with a freezing cold double dip on Sunday. But we just didn't respond to the challenge, and unfortunately we dropped both in that doubleheader. But all in all, the first 15 games, I'm not too disappointed. But if you learn from your losses and don't repeat the mistakes you make, then it's not a bad losses. But if you continue to make the mistakes or take teams for granted, then you got a problem. So hopefully we learn from the drop doubleheader, and we can avoid making that mistake in the future.
Talking to Evansville Otters manager Andy McCauley on the Menard Studio Hotline. Ford and O'Brien, ESPN Evansville 105.3 and online, ESPNEvansville.com. The Otters exactly 2 hours away from right now from first pitch of a doubleheader against the Gateway Grizzlies. We talk about some of the things you liked about what you've seen. Always work that can be done. Nothing's ever perfect. What are some of the areas that you feel that needs to be addressed as the season moves forward?
I think 4 of our 5 starters have really given us an opportunity to be in every game that they've started. One of our starters who's got unbelievable stuff and really will straighten it out has kind of left us there. So we need to see a little bit more out of one of our starters or 2 of our starters moving forward. The bullpen has done an okay job, not great. So some areas there, and we got to get some of these guys up and running. The Sweeneys, the Halks, and the Schultzes. I mean, you look at their numbers; they look okay, but not for where they should be and what they should should be doing for us here offensively, and that will come. There's no panic button there by any means, but we just got to get them the repetitions, get eased into the season, get into the routine. And like I said, it's just early. We haven't been able to establish the routine yet, but it's coming. So no real red flags out there that are really keeping me up at night. But by that goes. But just some things that we need to keep working. We need to progress and get into the season a little bit, see where it takes us.
How's the health of the team at this point in the season? Still feeling pretty good? As any bumps or bruises that are hindering some guys?
Yeah. Well, usually you can get through May. We made it through May with not much. We didn't make it through camp. We have 3 guys on our DL to start the year, and now with the way some of the guys are playing, it's just hard to activate them now. They're going to have to continue to heal and progress on the DL. So we the camp. But as far as the team, the 24-man roster I have right now, everybody's healthy and moving forward. Real good job with our medical staff with Doc Martin and the trainer here, and we've even worked with USI with the nutritionist. Dr. Beth Young has come over and given her input and worked with some of the guys as far as nutrition during the season, and that's something that really needs to be addressed when we go on the road. With all the fast food options, she was working with some of the guys as far as making decisions there. So real big help with USI getting involved with our nutritional aspect of training.
Well, we bring up injuries, and you were talking about the 5-man rotation. In the majors, some news broke this week or came out, a story on the Mets going to a 6-man rotation to limit some of the innings of their starters to try and help with fatigue and things like that. Is that something, you've been around the game a long time, is that something you foresee happening a little more, maybe even at a level of Frontier League baseball, going to a 6-man rotation to save some arms?
I don't see it at the independent level, but absolutely at the major league and organizational level. I mean, with the amount of money they have invested in some of these guys to try and prolong their careers would only make sense. So I can certainly see it at that level. Here, these guys want to put up as many good numbers as they can in a short period of time and move on. So I don't see that happening. We will this week go with a 6-man rotation just because of the doubleheader today. We're playing 6 games in 5 days. So rather than bring somebody back on short rest, we're going with a 6-man rotation this week, but that's more of a time crunch than anything. But I can certainly see it at the major league level and the organizational level, and they've been doing it for years in the minor leagues. What they'll do is they'll piggyback starters. You'll actually have like a 10-man rotation to where a guy will throw the first 4 innings, the next guy will throw the next 4 innings, and that they'll piggyback 2 starters. Usually they're prospects to limit their innings, and it doesn't really, they don't really care as far as win and loss as far as that record goes. They just try and get the guys, those type of innings, and they've been doing that for years in the minor league. So there's certainly some value to it if it can prolong. If you can get another 2 or 3 years out of one of your frontline guys, that is certainly something that I think they would be interested in. But I don't foresee it happening here at the Frontier League level or independent level.
Evansville Otters manager Andy McCauley joining us. It's Ford and O'Brien, ESPN Evansville 105.3 and online, ESPNEvansville.com. Get your thoughts on another story that has come up here in the early part of the Major League season, and that's the DH. Correct me if I'm wrong, Frontier League, you guys don't have a DH, do you?
We do. We use a DH.
You do. Okay. Yeah. Which method do you prefer?
I think at the lower level, minor league and Frontier League and independent, I think, a DH, it gives you one more hitter that can get in a lineup and add to the offense, which is what, fans certainly want to see. The average fan, the true fan that appreciates a good pitcher's duel would argue that. But gets you one more offensive player in your lineup, add to the offense. It gets one more offensive player getting in games. And really, pitchers at this level really need to focus on one thing. It's not high school or college where you can be a two-way player, and have success at both places. Very rare is that the case once you get to professional baseball. It's just the talent level has certainly been elevated to where it would be very difficult to be a two-way player. And I think pitchers at this level, at this age group, and this years of experience really just need to focus in on one thing. And I can attest to that a number of our guys really just need to focus on one thing as opposed to trying to get bunts down or run bases, that kind of stuff. So at this level, I'm certainly for it, but as a baseball purist at the big league level, I'm more of a National League guy for sure.
One more for you, Coach, and we'll let you go because we know you need to start getting ready for the games tonight. Sure. What can you tell us about these tryouts that you guys are holding with Joliet on July 22nd up at St. Joe College in Rensselaer?
I've done one every year after the draft. I get a number of college kids that I have interest in that are going to wait for the draft, and then they end up not getting drafted, and they have nowhere to go at that point. Seasons are underway. It's very tough to take somebody sight unseen, unless you have a history with either the coach or the player or have seen the kid somewhere before. So it's very tough for a kid to get looked at or be seen and get put on a list if they don't attend one of these things after the draft. Everyone, for whatever reason, thinks they're getting drafted, but unfortunately they're only going to take what they take, and there'll be some good players that are available that just, for whatever reason, slip through the draft. So last year we had one scheduled down in Memphis. This year we scheduled up in St. Joe's College up in Rensselaer, Indiana. So we'll get a chance to see guys that probably may have been drafted or thought to be drafted or thought they were getting drafted that for some reason didn't. They'll be able to showcase their skills in a one-day tryout as far as throwing, hitting, running, facing live pitching. And, if I have a need at that point, I'll certainly be looking to fill that roster spot there. If I don't have a need, certainly be able to put them on my short list for when a need does arise.
That's Evansville Otters manager Andy McCauley on the Menard Studio Hotline. Appreciate the time, Coach. I know we're cutting you close to game time. Best of luck tonight and against Gateway in this series, and welcome back home for a couple of days.
Hey, really appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on. Look forward to it in the future.